Hello guys. You are on the channel Alice Reddit Stories. Enjoy watching. I understand from the title that people are going to simply say that we just have communication issues. You're obviously right, but I don't think this is the only problem. We have lived together for a very long time. In many ways, we are extremely compatible. Because of the time when we got together, we kind of grew up as adults together, so we really see the world the same way and share interests. When I stop and think about A, the time investment, and B, the extent of our compatibility, I deeply question what I actually want. Like most people who question their relationship, I don't want to regret anything. It is difficult for me to remember why we oftentimes had issues in our relationship. I distinctly remember so many times when I felt unhappy and when the air around us was tense. There were so many periods when things just didn't feel right to me. Neither of us ever cheated on each other, so there isn't anything obvious to point to. I know that I can have some anger issues which can be difficult to deal with. It mainly manifests as me being impatient and distant. I have made a lot of improvement in this regard, but I know that it's something for me to work on for the rest of my life. She has had control issues for a long time, which will be important later. One major disagreement in our relationship, however, was our stance on marriage and kids. To this day, I don't know if I, A, didn't want to get married to her, B, was just afraid of the process of marriage, making arrangements, proposing, etc., C, was afraid of commitment in general, or D, if I simply don't believe in marriage. As time goes on, I don't think that I believe letter D to be true, and I think that it's because I've matured out of the whole marriage is stupid and unnecessary mentality. Perhaps it was a combination of all four. At a certain point, a longtime mutual friend of ours began to turn his life around, started dating someone, and they planned to get married. Seeing these events happen so quickly, my girlfriend obviously became very upset, as it had been over 5 years and we still weren't getting married. After a few months, she broke up with me. This was completely fair, as marriage was obviously a goal of hers and I was clearly wasting her time. I should have respected this, and I should have broken up with her long before we got to this point. Due to financial needs, we continued living together. I recognized that this was a bad idea in the long run. I never told my family that we broke up because I felt ashamed, and it would also be hard to explain why we are still living together. I only told 2 of my friends the truth. She actually started dating someone, which was really difficult for me at the time, but I dealt with my emotions on my own and managed to be okay. They were together for maybe a little less than 2 years, and I know for a fact that she tried to see 1 or 2 other people in addition to this. During this time, I didn't see anyone else. I got used to seeing her as just a friend. In many ways, we lived our lives as if we were still a couple. We took care of each other and we were a team. We shared a bank account and all finances. With that said, we did not have sex during this time, and we didn't even so much as kiss each other. I did bring up the idea of us getting back together a couple of times, and each time, she just kind of avoided the question. Fair enough, I shouldn't expect that she would want to get back together with me. I developed feelings for someone at work. We spent basically all of our time possible at work. I didn't share how I felt about her, and she didn't either. I explained to her my living situation. She was visibly upset for a few days, but things didn't actually change between us, otherwise. I was invited to hang out with her and a few work friends. I explained to her why I was hesitant to do this, as I knew how things in my living situation were about to come apart at the seams if I did this. I'm sure at this point that anyone reading this thinks that I'm a complete idiot. You're probably right. I told my ex that I was going to do this, and she treated me very poorly. I didn't explain to her that I had feelings for someone else. As far as she was concerned, these were just friends. Although, she's not stupid. She has shown signs of having pieced together that there might be someone else in the equation, which I have refuted because I don't want to deal with the consequences of seeing her reaction to this. I ultimately hung out with my work friends. I developed even stronger feelings for this other girl. My ex treated me even worse the following day and went so far as to say that she hates me. I went to bed that night. She proceeded to come into my room and kept me up for hours. We finally put the circumstances of our relationship into the air. Through the course of the conversation, I recognized several moments in which her words to me felt like manipulation. Laying in bed, she turned over to hug me, and my gut instinct was to literally run away, and I felt fear. I ran to the bathroom and shut the door. Her demeanor changed completely, and she cried endlessly for days, begging for me to get back with her. Meanwhile, I explained everything that was happening in my life to this other girl that I liked and explained my feelings for her. She told me that she likes me as well. She explained that, as a rule for herself, she won't get with someone who is in a relationship. She understands that I haven't actually been with my ex for several years, but, even so, she is right to be cautious. As she says, you may not be together, but you're still in a relationship. As for what will happen in the future between us, that is completely up in the air. She would like to stay friends with me for now, which is good. She has made it clear that she doesn't know if she wants to be with me in the future, which is completely fair. It's not her problem, but this has been difficult for me to deal with. Things have been very mature between the both of us, which is quite refreshing in many respects. We haven't spent much time at work together because she obviously needs space from me in order to be okay. This has hurt my feelings a great deal, but I accept it. I guess the only part I'm confused about here is why she didn't try to distance herself earlier, as she knew my living situation. Perhaps it was because we hadn't actually spoken to each other about how we felt. Now that it's out there, we can actually do things to mitigate any future damage to our emotions. About a week has passed and my ex is still completely distraught. She has told me that she thought that we were together for the last couple of years, even though we have never had this conversation, and, as I said before, we lived together without any romance at all. She has begged me to stay so many times. She now claims that she doesn't care about marriage and that she still cared about me to the same extent while we were broken up, and always had it in her head that we would get back together. She has cried so much. I feel terrible for her. I feel guilty. I feel confused. I feel like I don't know what is reality. I have told everyone that we are breaking up and came clean about the fact that we actually broke up several years ago, in actuality. My friends are very supportive of me. A couple of people have known about many of the details of my living situation throughout all of this. They perhaps see through the situation with more clarity than myself, and so the answer to all of my problems have probably appeared quite obvious for a long time. In the end, I'm afraid of regretting my decision here. I don't exactly feel the same way about her after all of this time. I have had the time to get over her for the most part, but I genuinely care about her deeply. I care about her so much that I almost want to get back with her just to save her from feeling sad. I probably would be happy being with her for the rest of my life if I chose to get back with her. Who knows, maybe I would even marry her. I'm so confused. And I feel like such an asshole. TLDR, I was in a long-term relationship. We had various issues with happiness. She wanted to get married. I did not. We broke up. We kept living together for years and didn't have sex during this time. She saw other people. I did not. We were still like best friends through this, and in many ways we otherwise behaved as though we were in a relationship. I asked her a couple of times if we would get back together, and she would basically push that under the rug. I found someone else, except not really. I chose to hang out with some work friends which, due to her controlling and untrusting nature, was the catalyst to us discussing the state of our relationship and ultimately me telling her that we would never get back together. She thinks we were together the last couple of years. We were not. She is very sad. I feel very guilty. I'm afraid for the future and don't know what to do or how I should feel. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. There are many interesting stories ahead of you.